Good morning. Welcome again to The Way of the Cross. And this is Easter Sunday morning. And I haven't got my iPad on, so let me just open that. You can tell how professional this is. And I'm back at my dad's house because he's not too well and needs someone to be with him. It's really weird for me not being in church, not having done 8 o'clock, our 8 o'clock communion. But here we are. And I want to reflect for a moment on early Easter morning. And I'm going to be reading from John. This is John chapter 20, verses 1 to 10. And I'm using the CEV, modernish version of the Bible. On Sunday morning, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance. So she ran to Simon Peter and to Jesus' favourite disciple and said, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him." Peter and the other disciple set off from the tomb. They ran side by side until the other disciple ran faster than Peter and got there first. He bent over and saw the strips of linen cloth lying inside the tomb, but he did not go in. When Simon Peter got there, he went into the tomb and saw the strips of cloth. He also saw the piece of cloth that had been used to cover Jesus' face. It was rolled up in a place by itself. The disciple who got there first then went into the tomb, and when he saw it, he believed. At that time, Peter and the other disciple did not know that the scriptures said that Jesus would rise to life. So the two of them went back to the other disciples. So the light of Easter begins to dawn slowly. If you were out seeing the dawn, I was down in the park a bit early because the dog woke up early. And the sun was just rising. It was lovely, just the sort of diffuse sunlight shining on us. That light of Easter dawns slowly. So the darkness is penetrated by the dawn. We as ministers of our ministry partnership have tried to take you to the darkness, because unless you face the darkness, you won't really see the light. There's been some humorous comments on our Good Friday talks that they were all pretty dark, and they needed to be. I know it's a very dark time, and some said, well, in the circumstances, we need something a bit lighter. I'm not sure. I think we need to face the darkness if we are going to fully embrace the light. Facing the darkness means following Jesus all the way to the cross, and not seeing the cross as a simple transaction between us and God that opens up a relationship with him. We are drawn deeper. The Bible, as I said, describes the cross in all sorts of ways, including as an example to us to follow, to die with Jesus. We are drawn into the way of the cross. And now we are being drawn into the way of the resurrection. Maybe I should call these the way of the resurrection from now on, but I think this is the turning point. We're still in the way of the cross. And just want to spend a little bit of time contrasting the two approaches. Well, we have three approaches here. Mary Magdalene, who is with other people. We only hear about Mary in John's account. But it's the contrast between the impulsive Peter and the contemplative John, because there is that tension in both of us, the impulsive or the contemplative. And in John's Gospel, it's the contemplative that wins out. So Peter and John hear that Jesus' body's gone, and they want to check that out, and they run to the tomb. And even though Peter is the impulsive one, John outruns him. So there is something about the contemplative approach that gives us the resilience we need. Interesting. John gets there first, but in his contemplative respect for this place, he can't go in. It's Peter, the impulsive Peter, and we need the impulsive. We need the impulsive Peter who bursts into the tomb and sees the facts. He sees the linen wrappings, and yet he doesn't get there. He sees the facts, but it's John, the contemplative, who has that contemplative mind, who can make the connections and extrapolate from the information they have. So it's John who begins to believe, but interestingly, who isn't able to express that to Peter and help him. He just sort of, oh yeah, okay, that's how it is. It's going on in his mind. But the two of them just return to the other disciples. They haven't got the light yet. They're beginning to see the light, but they haven't seen it fully yet. And maybe we need to give ourselves that time to face the darkness and to let the dawning light of the resurrection dawn in our hearts. Somehow we want to be there with the resurrection, with the joy. But that will be compulsive joy. Let it be contemplative joy. Let it be the joy of God that actually seeps into our souls and transforms us and leads us into the way of the resurrection, so that Jesus' risen life can be at work transforming us. Amen. And a very happy, deeply happy Easter.